saw him fight out in California, didn't you, against Archie Moore?
Yes, I did. It was a shame for a young boy like that to pick on an old man like Archie.
And he did.
Few figures in boxing history evoke the same mixture of awe and fear as Sonny Liston. Known for his devastating power, imposing physique, and dark, intimidating personality, Liston was a fighter who earned respect in the ring but resentment from many of his peers. Over the years, several boxers expressed strong dislike or even outright hatred toward him, whether because of his conduct, his psychological intimidation, or clashes over professional and personal matters. Based on interviews, on historical accounts, and documented anecdotes, this is a deep look at the 10 fighters who openly admitted to disliking Sonny Liston. 1. Muhammad Ali. The animosity between Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston is one of boxing's most legendary rivalries, but Ali's disdain went beyond the ring. In interviews and public comments, Ali described Liston as menacing, unpredictable, and tied to a world he didn't trust. Ali often recounted how intimidating Liston was during weigh-ins, press conferences, and in locker room encounters, suggesting that even before their famous fights, Liston exuded fear that unsettled others. Ali's dislike was both personal and professional. He respected Liston's punching power but resented the aura of menace he carried. Beyond that, Ali often criticized Liston's connections to unsavory figures and rumored criminal ties, which amplified his contempt. Their rivalry wasn't just about competition, it was psychological warfare. 2. Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson, a former heavyweight champion, carried both professional respect and personal frustration toward Liston. Patterson faced Liston in 1962, and accounts suggest that the lead-up to the fight was colored by anxiety and discomfort. Patterson reportedly disliked Liston's intimidating demeanor, finding him unnerving both in training and at public events. The fear Liston generated was not just psychological. Patterson had first-hand experience of Liston's power and unpredictability. In interviews years later, Patterson remarked that he never fully trusted Liston, citing a sense of menace that went beyond the normal competitiveness of boxing. He also criticized Liston for appearing to rely on intimidation rather than technical skill, a behavior that clashed with Patterson's disciplined, methodical approach to the sport. While Patterson respected Liston as a fighter, this respect was mingled with personal dislike, fueled by both fear and professional frustration. Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight champion known for his relentless pressure and devastating left hook, openly expressed disdain for Sonny Liston. While Frazier respected Liston's punching power, he criticized his work ethic and professionalism. According to interviews, Frazier felt that Liston relied more on fear than discipline, which rubbed Frazier the wrong way. Frazier, known for his own toughness and straightforward approach, found Liston's intimidation tactics off-putting. Historical accounts indicate that Frazier deliberately avoided close contact with Liston at public events, preferring to keep interactions minimal. He believed that Liston's presence created unnecessary tension and psychological games, which went beyond normal competitive behavior. This personal distaste did not necessarily manifest in a public feud, but it was evident in Frazier's private reflections. 4. George Chuvalo, Canadian heavyweight. George Chuvalo had little tolerance for Sonny Liston's intimidating personality. Known for his iron chin and toughness, Chuvalo nevertheless admitted that Liston's aura made him uneasy. Interviews reveal that Chuvalo disliked Liston's menacing presence, both in the gym and during events. While Chuvalo respected Liston's skills and punching power, he found the psychological intimidation that Liston employed to be excessive. Publicly documented statements suggest that Chuvalo felt Liston used fear as a weapon outside the ring, creating tension for other fighters. Chuvalo's dislike was rooted in both professional and personal discomfort. He acknowledged that facing Liston wasn't just about surviving his punches, it was also about navigating the oppressive atmosphere Liston created. 5. Ingemar Johansson, Swedish heavyweight. Ingemar Johansson harbored dislike for Sonny Liston, largely due to Liston's arrogance and intimidation tactics. While Johansson never fought Liston in a high-profile bout, historical accounts and interviews indicate lingering frustration with his attitude. Johansson described Liston as someone who carried himself with unnecessary menace, making others uncomfortable in professional settings. According to publicly documented sources, Johansson found Liston's demeanor off-putting, often criticizing his reliance on psychological intimidation. This personal dislike was not rooted in a lack of respect for Liston's skills. Johansson acknowledged his power and dominance in the heavyweight division. 6. Henry Cooper. British heavyweight Henry Cooper expressed personal dislike for Sonny Liston in multiple interviews. Though they never fought professionally, Cooper recounted feeling intimidated by Liston's presence during exhibitions and public events. Cooper described Liston as cold and menacing, a man who commanded fear not only with fists, but with personality. This off-ring demeanor created discomfort and tension, leading Cooper to distance himself whenever possible. Cooper's perspective highlights that animosity toward Liston was not always about competitive outcomes, but also about character and social behavior. Despite respecting Liston's boxing abilities, Cooper felt that the aura of intimidation was excessive and unprofessional. Foss interviews with Cooper also indicate that he saw Liston as someone who relied on fear to maintain control rather than on strategy or skill alone. 7. Chuck Wepner. Known as the Bayonne Bleeder, Chuck Wepner shared anecdotes of friction with Sonny Liston. Wepner disliked Liston's attitude toward younger fighters, often perceiving it as contemptuous. In interviews, Wepner recalled instances where Liston projected hostility even outside the ring, creating tension for those nearby. While Wepner respected Liston's skill and punching power, he found the personal dynamics difficult to navigate. This frustration was compounded by Liston's reputation as an unpredictable and intimidating figure. Wepner admitted that his dislike was a mix of professional caution and personal discomfort. Liston's demeanor forced many fighters to adjust their behavior, and for Wepner, this created unnecessary stress. 8. And Ron Lyle, powerful heavyweight. Ron Lyle reportedly disliked Liston for his reliance on intimidation. Lyle, known for his own aggressive style, felt that Liston's psychological tactics were excessive and often unnecessary. Interviews indicate that Lyle respected Liston's fighting ability, but was frustrated by the fear he instilled in opponents. For Lyle, Liston's reputation for off-ring aggression and manipulation contradicted the principles of discipline and respect in boxing. Lyle openly discussed his distaste for Liston, emphasizing that while he could appreciate technical skill, the personal behavior was troubling. Lyle's perspective provides insight into how professional dislike in boxing often intersects with personal ethics and values. 9. Jimmy Ellis. Former heavyweight champion Jimmy Ellis disliked Liston because of his unpredictability and intimidating presence. Ellis often described Liston as someone who was hard to read, both in personality and in style, so creating tension for those around him. In interviews, Ellis admitted that Liston's aura made other fighters uneasy, and he personally found it frustrating to navigate that energy. Ellis respected Liston's power, but disliked the psychological pressure Liston exerted on peers. This animosity wasn't born from direct conflict alone. It was about personality, reputation, and the subtle ways Liston dominated spaces outside the ring. Ellis's reflections underscore the fact that dislike in boxing can arise from intimidation and character clashes, not just from physical encounters. 10. Jerry Quarry. American heavyweight Jerry Quarry openly expressed distaste for Liston's aggressive personality and intimidating behavior. Quarry admired Liston's skill, but was critical of his off-ring conduct, noting that younger fighters were often unsettled by his presence. In interviews, Quarry emphasized that Liston's aggression and psychological tactics created tension, making him someone to avoid whenever possible. Quarry's dislike was both personal and professional, reflecting the broader sentiment among many contemporaries. Liston commanded respect in the ring but provoked resentment outside of it. Quarry's reflections also reveal how Liston's approach to intimidation impacted relationships with peers, now shaping the legacy of fear and dislike that surrounded him during his career. Sonny Liston remains one of boxing's most enigmatic and intimidating figures. While he earned respect for his raw power and dominance in the heavyweight division, it's clear from interviews, historical accounts, and documented anecdotes that many of his peers felt genuine animosity toward him. From Muhammad Ali to Jerry Quarry, and these fighters openly acknowledged that Liston's personality, both in and out of the ring, made him someone they disliked, feared, or distrusted. This combination of unparalleled skill and intimidating presence created a dual legacy: admiration for his power and technical ability, alongside frustration and personal animosity from those who crossed paths with him. Sonny Liston's story is a powerful reminder that talent alone doesn't define a legacy. Personality, behavior, and relationships shape the way history remembers a fighter.